Okay, everyone, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Britney Samuelson, and I'm with the Iowa Afterschool Alliance. I'm going to be leading this webinar today, and this is about the Mizzen by Mott. It's a new app that the Mott Foundation has come out with, and we're really excited to share it with you. We think it'll be a great tool for after-school programs and summer programs across the state to have access to high-quality content. So, I will just provide a disclaimer that this is a new app and I just learned how to use it a couple weeks ago. So please bear with me as we walk through this together and learn together. I'm going to be doing some funny things with technology in the second half of the webinar to be able to show you on my cell phone how to use the app. So again, just bear with me. If you have any questions, please go ahead and just interrupt me. If you put them in the chat, it might be difficult for me to catch them because I've got a lot of things going on, just trying to show you the app and run the webinar at the same time. So again, any questions, just go ahead and interrupt me with your voice or save them for the end when I have a chance to look at the chat. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Before we go, if you are not on mute, please go ahead and mute yourself until you have a question. Thank you. So again, this is about the Mizzen by Mott app. And if you haven't had a chance to download the app on your smartphone or create an account on the Mizzen by Mott website that Crystal sent out late last week, I'd encourage you to take some time to go ahead and do so that way you can follow along with the walkthrough in the second half of this webinar. The Mizzen by Mott app was created by the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation, which is also a funder of our Iowa Afterschool Alliance and the other statewide after-school networks across the country. We are excited to be able to bring this app to you for free. It's a new resource that should be able to support you in your work. So in the first part of this presentation, I'll go ahead and go through the slides and talk to you a little bit about generally what the app does, what the inspiration for the app was. And then in the second half of the presentation, like I said a little bit ago, I'm going to try to share my screen from my iPhone and walk you through the different functionalities of the app, and so we can learn that together. So that's our plan for today. So Ridgway, the president of the Mott Foundation, asked, how can we leverage technology for the benefit of children in after-school programs? The goal wasn't to just give children a screen.
Alexander.
Remember to please mute yourself if you're not muted. Thank you. So the goal was not to figure out how to just entertain children with technology and to put another screen in front of them, but how to empower after-school providers using technology to provide high-quality content. And when Ridgway asked this question, he wasn't really sure what the answer would be. The question wasn't used in order to create an app, but they did a lot of research to figure out what the field needed. And the answer was Mizzen by Mott. So the app was developed and beta tested with after-school professionals, content providers, and a team of staff and consultants. And today it is ready for you to use. So here we'll meet Mizzen by Mott. So it's a new mobile app, like I've said, developed for after-school professionals. And there's also a web application too. I sent out that web address, I think late last week. I had Crystal do that. And it is filled with over 1,000 different hands-on activities and lessons that you can do with youth, from exploring jazz to STEM, and then it should just challenge youth and provide some good opportunities for you to facilitate activities and provide reflection for the youth. And if you're just joining, please remember to put yourself on mute. Thank you. So the goal of this app was really 3 parts, and one is to have high quality content at your fingertips for after school staff and professionals. So we know how difficult it is to try to find high quality content. Sometimes you're on Pinterest, sometimes you're Googling different activities to do, and it can be hit or miss. Sometimes you find really great ones. Sometimes you have to tweak them to make them high quality. Sometimes they're just duds. And so the Mott Foundation knew that and wanted to create a place for you to go where you can find high quality vetted content easily without having to do a lot of searching. Another goal of the app was to create more operational efficiency. So the app also does some things like creating attendance, and you're able to share different schedules with your staff and things like that, which we'll dive into a little bit more later. And then a third component of this app is professional growth. So there are features of this app that will aid in your professional development and support you with different tips and different quality content for you to learn and develop as a professional as well. And then, so this app has been in development for a couple years now, but it was supposed to be rolled out right around the time COVID-19 hit. So to meet the needs of this moment, the Mizzen team has added different activities that can be done in small groups if you're meeting in person, but following CDC guidelines to meet with small groups, or they can be adjusted and adapted for at-home settings. There's a lot of good content on there that fosters well-being. We know that kids right now really just need some of that social, emotional, and learning and fun in their lives right now. And so there's a lot of content that's geared towards that. And then there's a lot of professional development and pro tips for you to be able to support kids as they're learning and growing in different places this summer and maybe throughout the school year. So this has been flexible, and they're working every day to try to add more content to meet these new unique needs that we're all facing now. And again, I just want to reiterate that this is a free app for you. There is no charge to you to use. This is a great, generous gift by the Mott Foundation to empower after-school professionals across the country to really have high-quality after-school and summer programs. So it's a great tool, and we'll dive into it in a little bit. But remember, it's always free to download. And then I think the other really neat thing about Mizzen is that it was created by and for after-school professionals. So after-school professionals and different after-school networks like the Iowa Afterschool Alliance were involved in the creation of this app. So they heard from frontline staff, site directors, and program directors to really create the functionality of this app and make it work for what you all need on the day-to-day basis in your programs. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what Mizzen by Mott offers. The big number one thing in this app is the high quality content from top after school curriculum experts. So there's over 1,000 pieces of content that foster youth development. There's fun and engaging activities in visual arts, storytelling, health and wellness for families to do at home, social emotional learning, music, yoga, mindfulness, STEM, the list goes on and on. And you can rest assured that this content has all been vetted by experts and professionals in the field. So you know that what you're using on this app is high quality and will be good for the youth. So again, some more examples. Mizzen by Mott has reached out to its partners across the country to create some of this content. So in the app, you'll find some lessons from Jazz at Lincoln Center. You'll find lessons about entrepreneurship from Venture Lab, and then different things from other after-school networks across the country too. So this content is coming from everywhere and covers all sorts of topics for all sorts of ages as well. And then we have the pro tips. Again, this is your professional development that's built right into the app. So there'll be articles that are posted all the time to help you hone your skills, bring content to life, and address new challenges and opportunities that you're facing in your programs. And then there's also organizational features. So you'll be able to schedule content for different groups and different clubs in your program. You can take there's some attendance features in the app, and there's some messaging components if you needed to do a quick instant message to someone on your team about your programming. So there's all sorts of different features that your program can use, and you can pick and choose which ones you want to use. If you want to use this purely as your content development, you can use it as that. But if you wanted to use it for some more of those organizational features, you can definitely do that as well. And then here's some quotes from what's been said by early adopters and beta testers. And again, this app was just created and released about a month or two ago. So we would also love to hear how the app works from you now that you're out in the field and able to use this. We want to hear what works well, what content you need the most as we are heading into our summer programs, which look different than we probably anticipated they would about a year ago. And then we can pass whatever we hear along to the Mizzen by Mott team and make sure that this app is always changing to meet the needs of after-school professionals across the country. And then again, just another slide that we as the Iowa Afterschool Alliance and other networks across the country are here to help you use this app to support your work and to improve the quality of your programming. And so if there's anything we can do to help along the way, I'm happy to help you. I will put in a disclaimer that I am not an app expert by any means or a technology whiz. So luckily there are some platforms you can use for those tech questions, and we'll get to that later. But I'm also happy to just try to walk through some things with you and help you figure this out, which is actually what we're going to do next. So are there any questions about the app before we really go into the walkthrough? Anything anyone wants to ask just about general information about the app or the inspiration behind it? Okay, I am going to go ahead then and pull up my phone so I can share my phone screen. If you haven't already done so, please take a moment to download the app and create an account. It's a very quick process so that you can follow along with me as I walk through this app with you. However, if you don't have access to your smartphone or want to deal with this later, you should still be able to follow along pretty well with my sharing of my phone screen. So give me 1 second while I switch over there. I just learned how to do this yesterday, so I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. So let me get back to the home page here. So this is what you'll see on the home page. Give me 1 second again to get situated here. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. So this is what you'll see on the home page. If you can see my screen here, this is on my phone. So this is exactly what you'll see once you download the app on your phone as well. So this is your home screen. At the very top, you'll see that there's an option to take attendance. So once you've created a group, which we'll walk through next, this group will appear in your home screen during the dates and times that you've set. So I have created a test group, which is called Summer Program, and I set it up to meet every day, every weekday from 8 to 6 p.m. in the summer. And so this group every day will pop up on my home screen, so I have the opportunity to take attendance. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on that today's attendance thing, and it will take me to today's date, and I can go ahead and take attendance. So this app will only let you take number attendance. It won't let you plug in student names because of privacy and confidentiality standards and things like that. But if you want to use this app to just get a sense of, we had 15 out of the 20 students here today at our program, you can definitely use that, and it's simple to do. All you do is put your finger on the circle and swing it around. I know you guys can't see what my finger is doing, so I'm going to try to explain that until it gets to 15, and then you can submit that. And now we know that 15 out of the 20 kids were there today, and it shows me that that's been logged. So that's a cool feature that you can do right from the home screen. So that way, if you want to take attendance quickly, you can do that right there and then get back onto your activities with your program. Going back to the home screen using the arrow key at the top, you'll be able to see featured content, which is just something that they put on every day for you to explore a little bit, a new activity that Mizzen by Mott has added that you can use. So this is updated regularly, so check back frequently to see what this new featured content is. And then there's also a tip of the day, which is updated regularly. And this is, again, that professional development for you, little quick tip and a little quick article for you to help improve how you're facilitating activities and your professional growth in the after school field. So this is what we see automatically when we come to the home screen. So very simple, very easy for you all to use. So just make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, and so now let's get into the different functionalities of the app. If you click on the menu, which is the 3 lines up in the top left corner, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It gives you different categories that you can select. And I will draw your attention before I get into these categories to the invite a colleague button at the bottom. So once you or someone in your organization has created an account, you will be able to invite a colleague so that they will be have an account that's also listed under your organization. So I'm going to go ahead and click that button just so you can see what it looks like. So you can put in their name and their email, and then Mizzen by Mott will send them an email inviting them to create their own account that will be linked to your organization. This is an important feature because, as you'll see in a little bit, you have the opportunity to create groups or create different clubs or programs in the app. And if you want to be able to assign that to a different site supervisor or a different teacher for that club, you will be able to do that if they are linked through your organization in the Mizzen by Mott app. You'll also have the opportunity to share content with them if they are linked here. So this is important. If you are interested in using the Mizzen by Mott app and really integrating it into your program, I would suggest that you create a plan for maybe the program director to be in charge of inviting everyone using this feature so that you can make sure that everyone, all the staff that you want to be linked in the app have access to that, have access to your organization, and are all listed under the same organizational account. So that's just a cool feature that will help you as you go along and use the rest of the app to the best of its ability. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the menu, again pressing those 3 lines in the upper left hand corner, and let's go ahead and dive into the groups feature. So the groups feature is a great way for you to see what everyone is up to. Groups in Mizzen helps you keep on top of the schedule, let you see who will learn what and when, and it can let you see when groups are scheduled and how many students are registered. And overall, it just helps you better coordinate and manage your activities for your different groups. So let's go ahead and create a group. So when we create a group, you can create one for each group of kids in your class or create one for the whole class, whatever makes sense to you. If you have a smaller program and you don't really break the kids out into groups, it might just make sense to make one group. However, if you're running multiple different clubs and you want to be able to schedule different activities for each club, it might make sense for you to create more groups. Use this feature however best makes sense for your programming. So to create a group, you'll go ahead and click on that orange plus button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And it will give you the opportunity to fill in all sorts of information about your group. So you can give it a name, you can assign a teacher, and again, this is where that invite a colleague feature is really important. So you can see that Crystal and I are both linked up to the Iowa Afterschool Alliance test account. So I could assign Crystal to this group, and she will be able to see the different content I'm scheduling for her. She'll be able to schedule content for herself. And this is just a great way to see who is doing what and when. You can put in the start and end dates for your program. So if this is a summer program or if it's a short-term club, you can put that in. And then the start and end times for that club or program. The days of the week it meets. And then the approximate number of students, you plug that in here. So just a little tip for this one, I would recommend approximating up for your count for your program, because this is how you'll take attendance. As you saw on the home screen, I put in 20 for my summer program test group, and it will only let me go up to 20 unless I go in and edit the group. So I would plan on estimating and approximating up, so that way you can always have room to put in that attendance without having to go in and edit your group. Just a little tip that I noticed while I've been playing around. You can put in the age range of your youth, so this is helpful. So just so you can stay organized and see which group is doing what and who's in there. And then Mizzen by Mott has also created an opportunity for you to put in some information about demographics of the youth that you're serving. So different race and ethnicity questions, different gender questions, and then different questions about free and reduced price lunch status. If you want to use this for your own tracking, you certainly can, but I would encourage you to please go ahead and do this if you have time when you're creating your group. Mizzen by Mott is using this information to get a sense of which groups of children, which demographics of youth are being indirectly impacted by this app for their own reporting and evaluation measures. So this is a great way to help Mott out and kind of thank them for this great free resource that they're providing for you by giving them the gift of data. So that's how you create a group. It's pretty simple, just having that information at your fingertips. And then to save it, you can go and press that check mark at the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Or to delete it, let's say you have a group that isn't functioning anymore, it's not running anymore, you can press that trash can button at the upper right-hand corner of your screen as well. Since I didn't really put anything in this section, I'm not going to save this group, so I'm just going to press the back button. So that's how you create a group, and then once you've created that group, it'll show up in My Groups. It will also show up in All Groups if you're a program director and you're just assigning and creating different groups for different teachers or different staff, but you're not actually connected or teaching those groups yourselves. You'll still have access to see all of the groups under All Groups. So that's a good functionality that they thought of too. And again, you can take attendance for that group, which we did on the home screen, but you can do it on this screen as well by just pressing that take attendance button and then choosing the day or adjusting the attendance on a day you've already submitted. So that's how you do that there. You can also schedule activities using the calendar. So let me go back a second. So I'm under My Groups. I clicked on Summer Program, which is one of the groups I've created. You can click on the calendar and you can see how many activities and which activities I've planned for this group throughout the month or throughout the week. You can see at the top here, that top bar that says month, week, 3-day, day, agenda. That lets you choose how you'd like to view your calendar. So let's say I just want to look at it week by week. It gives me the option to do that. So here's where you can see where I've selected content from the app and put it into my program, my group schedule for the week. I'll show you in a minute how to do that. So, but just so you know, you can see your whole group's calendar in this part of the app.
Brittany, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
This is Christine Carlson. This stuff is really awesome, but it looks like a lot of the stuff that I need to keep track of for evaluation and all that.
Yep.
Will we be able to like send this over, you know, like transfer it to be able to use all this stuff?
I actually
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like exporting it. I don't know about that.
Yeah, because that would save a lot of time on the director's end when we have to put all our evaluation. Because as I'm watching you, it's like all the information that we need to keep track of.
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't know the answer to that, Christine, but I can follow up and send that out as a follow-up email from this webinar. So let me look into that.
Okay, thank you.
Great point. Awesome. Any other questions before I move away from the groups feature? Any other questions so far?
I have one more.
Yeah.
I have a lot of laptops for my kids, you know, in the after school program to use. Would I be able to download the activities for them personally, you know, on there without being able to get into the other stuff of this program?
So I would not recommend that, Christine, and you'll see in a second why when we dive into the content, but the content is really developed for the staff, for the facilitator. So it's just like step-by-step instructions, like a lesson plan for you to do with the kids, and it wouldn't really be fun for the kids to look through that. And I don't think there would be a way for you to block access for the kids to see all of the administrative back-end stuff too, which would maybe cause some problems.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, we'll go through the content next here, I think. So if there aren't any other questions, I'll go ahead and move on. Oh, actually, we're gonna go into pro tips here, but that'll only take a minute. So I'm gonna go press this arrow button at the top left-hand corner. That's how you always get back to the home screen or the page you were before. Click that menu button at the top again and go to Pro Tips here. And again, this is your professional development platform for you to read different articles about different programming, and just gives you practical, simple tips from educational experts and for you to learn some more best practices for after school programming. So this is just an opportunity for you to do some of that learning, and all you do is scroll through these articles here and go ahead and click on one that looks interesting to you, and it will go ahead and provide you some interesting information to help you grow professionally. So this is one of the newer features of the app. So this content is being updated regularly. It's something that Mizzen by Mott is focusing on a lot now, now that the content piece has been really flushed out. So this is growing, so be sure to check back regularly for more updates. And as a reminder, they always put the newest content under the pro tips at the very top. So that's where you'll find your new articles there. Okay, now let's dive into the content. This is really the bulk of what this app is for, and I think it's the part that's going to be really interesting for you. So going back to that menu in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you can click on that content button, and it breaks down your content into 3 different sections: activities, modules, and playlists. So activities are standalone activities that can be done on their own. They range from about 30 minutes to an hour and a half long activities. Modules are activities that are grouped together and they build upon one another. So this is meant to be like a series of activities in a club or in a program around the same theme, but they're meant to be in a sequential order, and so that you will always be building upon the knowledge learned in the previous activity. So that's something to keep in mind there. And then there's playlists. These are like modules, but they're more loosely organized. So they're all activities that are organized around a specific topic or theme, but the activities don't necessarily build upon each other or are connected. You can do them in any order. They're more loosely organized that way. So just so you know how Mizzen by Mott has categorized the different activities. So here you can, there's 1,000 different activities that you can use in your classroom and in your program. And then each activity provides easy access to information such as age range, the total time it will take to complete the activity, a quick overview of the activity with different learning objectives, and then a list of materials that you'll need for the youth to be able to do the activity. So let me see if there's anything else I was supposed to cover here. Okay, so on this screen that we're at right now, this is the browse screen. You can see at the bottom, it says browse, bookmarked, scheduled, and search. So we are on the browse screen, and this is just where you can scroll through content. Maybe you're not really sure what you're looking for. You just want to see what the app has. You can scroll. It's all organized by different content areas. So there's arts, college and career readiness, digital literacy, entrepreneurship, all sorts of things. And then you can scroll left and right too to search within a different category. However, if you want more specific searching and more specific browsing, there is a tab for searching. So let me go ahead and get to that part. So if you look at the bottom, again, that bottom toolbar at the far right, there's a little magnifying glass with the name search. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. And here's where you can search through the different content. So I would say that it is important as a reminder that you do not need to fill in all of the fields in order to search. In fact, if you do that, you may be narrowing yourself too much so that you're not really going to get a lot of great search results anyway, because the more fields being used, the more specific the search gets, and you'll result in fewer matching activities. So keep that in mind as you're searching. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through how to do a search. You can see here that you can search by a lot of different criteria, including keyword, curriculum type, who created the content, by category, by grade range, activity length, and different learning standards. They really thought of everything here. So let's just go ahead and plug in a couple of different search factors here and see what we come up with. So let's say that I'm a program director and I really want to find just a quick filler activity, 30 minutes to an hour around STEM that my kids can do on Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and press activity. Remember, they break it down into activity, module, and then course or playlist. So I'm going to press activity because I don't really want it to be part of a larger theme. I'm just looking for a filler activity. Again, I want to do STEM. So I'm going to click this category here and press STEM. You can use the tags feature, but I'm not going to today. But you can see it tags just a lot of different words that come up in the content. So you can look up ceramics, you can look up chess, there's all sorts of different tags, but I'm not going to do that today. And then duration, remember I'm looking for about 30 to 60 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and press that button. But you can select multiple if you want a range of times. And then I'm looking to do this for my K through 6 group. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the grade range, but 0 is kindergarten. And it goes all the way up to 12th grade. So you can use this for any kids that you're serving in your program. And you can make it as narrow or as broad as you'd like, depending on the kids that you're working with. And then there's an option to select the reviews that this content got. You can use this if you'd like, but I would recommend maybe avoiding it for the first couple months because all of the content has the ability to be reviewed by people who have used it. So if you use a piece of content, you try to do an activity and you just loved it, you can go in and give it a 5-star review and leave some notes for other people who are looking for activities. But it's going to take a while for those reviews to get built up. Remember, this is a new app, so a lot of activities and content have not been rated yet. So if you use this search feature to only look for 5-star. If you're only wanting to look for 5-star content, you're really limiting yourself just because a lot of things have not been reviewed yet. So I think I have everything I want to look up for this search. So I'm going to go ahead and press this green Perform Search button. And it's going to give me a whole list of activities here that fit in that 30 to 60 minute for elementary school student activities and the things that I've searched. So I'm going to go ahead and press a model of the lungs and just see what this looks like. So this is essentially the structure that all of the content will have in the app. So you'll have the name of the content, the person or organization that created this content. So in this case, Mott created this content. It gives you the reviews, but you'll see, like I said, there are 0 reviews for this one, but you can add a review if you'd like by pressing the Add a Review button after you've done it. It tells you that this is a 45-minute activity, but this is for grades 6 through 8. So this is not actually one I want because it's going above the range that I was looking for. So let's try the boat one. Okay, great. So this is for grades 1 through 6. So this is a better fit for me. And this one does have reviews if we wanted to look at those. So it gives you an about this activity. So basically a quick blurb so you as the facilitator know what this activity is all about. And then later it goes into the learning objectives. So what the kids will be learning from doing this activity, all of the materials that you or your staff will need to prepare for this activity. And then any different background materials that you'll need. So sometimes there's attachments that you can use. For instance, in this particular activity, it looks like you're talking about a specific boat. And so this provides some background information for you to learn about that boat, or you can print this off for the kids. And then it gives you all of the different steps for how to facilitate this activity. And this is how every piece of content is created. And then at the bottom, there are always variations. So if you wanted to put a twist on it or have youth compare different things, or maybe there's some variations in the materials that you have, those different considerations will be listed at the bottom for you to review and see if it makes sense for your program. So if you wanted to, if you thought this was a great activity that you want to incorporate into one of your groups, you can go ahead and schedule it right there. And you can do that by pressing the orange calendar button right at the bottom part of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and do that so you can see what that looks like. And then you choose the group. Right now I just have that one test group created, but if you had like 10 different clubs, you'd be able to choose from those different clubs to schedule this activity. And then you can choose the date you'd like it to be scheduled for. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule it for next Monday, the 15th. And you press set and save, and then it'll be on my calendar. And I'll show you that in a little bit so you can see just how easily that's added there. If you know you want to do this activity, but you're not entirely sure when or with which group, or you just know you love this activity and don't want to forget about it, you can bookmark it by pressing that little white and orange flag button right above the calendar button. And that bookmarks the activity so that you can look back on it later. Or if you want to print this activity, you can also do that from this app. So let's say you wanted to print those activity steps for the kids so they had it. Though this is probably just something that would be best for your facilitator or your program staff to have to help lead the kids through the activity. But if you wanted to print this out for different reasons, you can print that right from this app if you have a wireless printer. So you press that green printer button. You can select your wireless printer and print it right from your app. I do not have a wireless printer, so this won't work for me. But if you have that functionality that's connected through your Wi-Fi, you can certainly do that. So that's how an activity is created and structured in the Mizzen by Mott app. I'm going to go back to my search results here, and then back again just to the main browsing page of the content. I wanted to show you really quick what a module looks like. It's practically structured the same way as a regular activity, but you can see here that it puts the activities in an order. And as a reminder, remember modules, each activity builds upon the previous one. So you will want to do these in order, but you can press that arrow right by each activity and it'll give you that little blurb about what the activity is about, and then you can press view and it'll take you right to that activity. So that's how you can use the module and the playlist functionality. All of those different series are put right into that module or playlist. So going back again to the main browsing page, the main content browsing page, and just wanted to show you the bookmarked feature. So at the very bottom, taskbar, you can see there's a heart with the word bookmarked. If I click on that, you can see the different activities, modules, and playlists I've bookmarked. And you can see that earlier when I bookmarked aluminum boats in the Edmund Fitzgerald, that shows up here now so that I can remember that this is something I liked, click on it, and schedule it when I'm ready to. There's also a button for scheduled, so you can see which activities are scheduled coming up, or which activities you've scheduled in the past. So that's another cool feature. Let me see, I think I covered everything under content, but let me just double check. And if anyone has any questions about the content, please go ahead and chime in now. Okay.
This is Billy Stone.
Yeah.
I have a question. I'm from Oak Ridge. Now, I was looking at the Mott, this whole program that you've been doing, and can you just use certain pieces of it, like looking at the calendar and using that, or do you have to enlist for the whole program?
So I think you can use the pieces that you want to use, Billy, but I think yeah, I think you can use the pieces you want to use. So if you only wanted to use this for content and not really for taking attendance, you could do that. Just don't use the attendance feature. If you wanted to use this for taking attendance, but not really content, you could do that. You just create your group and never schedule content for it, I think. So I think you could use it that way, but I think no matter what, you would want to create a group so that you could take attendance or not, or have content to assign to the group. So I think you can definitely play around with it. There's definitely nothing that you have to use on this. You can make it work for your program and your program's needs.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay. So let me see here. What else did I want to show you all? There's one last thing I just wanted to show you, just so you could see how quick and easy it was to schedule that aluminum boat activity. I'm going to go back to my groups and click on my group here, click on the calendar, and remember I scheduled that for next Monday. So there it is. It's that easy. One thing that I don't like about this app, and don't tell Mott I said this, I already told them that it's a functionality I think they should add, but there isn't a way to schedule times for these different activities. So you can see here that it automatically scheduled this boat activity, which was an hour-long activity, for 8 to 6 p.m., which was the whole length of my program that I set up in groups, as you'll remember. And there isn't a way, so you'll see here, I scheduled 2 activities yesterday when I was playing around, and it just puts them as concurrent activities. So there's no way to say, we're gonna do acted out improvisation from 8 to 10, and then we're gonna do a call to service from 10 to noon. At this point in the app, there's no way to do that. I have asked for them to consider that functionality because I think it would be definitely more clear for you all as program staff and directors to be able to plan your whole day out using activities. But at this point, that is not an option. So if you're having trouble figuring that out, don't worry, I did too, and it's just not a feature that the app has at this point. And then let's see, one more thing. I'm gonna go back to the menu one last time, and there is a messaging feature. So this is a way that you can communicate with those different colleagues that have registered under your organization. So if you wanted to say, hey, Alyssa, I just assigned an activity for your group on this day. It looks great. Let me know if you have any questions about it. Or, hey, Janie, I found this activity on an aluminum boat. I love it. What do you think? You know, if you wanted to talk about things like that, you definitely could. You just press that plus button at the bottom, and it's a way for you all and your program staff to stay connected instantly. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and then bring up one more slide. One second here as I switch over.
As you're switching, do you mind if I ask a question, Brittany?
Yeah, please do.
This is Alyssa Gerhardt. So my question is it's all on the app, or can we also access the same information on the computer as well?
Yes, you can access the same information on the computer. There is a website, and let me figure out which one it is. If you just give me 1 second, and then I'll bring that up really quick too. But it's essentially the same thing, but it's on the computer. And then there's like 5 different websites here, so it takes me a minute to figure it out. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so it's app.mizzenapp.org. I'm gonna go ahead and open that up and plug it into the chat so you guys have that. So yeah, if you are not into apps on your smartphone, if you'd rather do this on the computer, if it's easier for you, you can definitely do that. There's that button for you. And then let me just sign in, and I can pull this up really quick so you can see just how similar it is to the app that I just walked through on my phone. Okay. Here we go. So you can see you have that page, just like I did on my phone, where you can take attendance. You have the content page where you can browse and search, just like on my phone. It's essentially the same app that I just walked through, but just on your computer. So you can access this by going to that website that I just shared, as long as you create an account, which it takes like 5 seconds to do that too. And then all of this is accessible for you on your computer as well. Good question. Any other questions here? Okay, let me just, I've got so many screens going on right now. So just a couple last slides here before we end the webinar today. And that is the Knowledge Center that I wanted to show you guys. So if you go to www.mizzen.org, they have a Knowledge Center where you can look at frequently asked questions, get a walkthrough for how to do a group. If you forget how I explained it, or maybe I didn't explain it super clearly, that could totally be possible too. They will walk you through it on this Knowledge Center too, and they're adding to it all the time as they get new frequently asked questions and different guides and different feedback from people on what they're having trouble with. So if you ever have questions, I'd encourage you to go here first, and then if there's anything I can do to help, I'm always here too. But as you could see throughout this process, I'm learning it as well. So the experts on this Knowledge Center are great. I submitted a question last night and he got back to me within an hour. So they're super responsive. And then finally, this is my last slide here, and it just provides you some information on how to download the app from your favorite store, and then follow Mizzen on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn.
It ain't got nothing to do with water.
And then are there any other questions before we end for the day?
I have a question. This is Christine again, Carlson.
Yeah.
When we get to the different parts of it, like we want to print off things and stuff, is that all free, or do we need to get a copyright from these different sites, or
Yeah,
No.
just maybe
you know what I
wait.
mean? If we're-
That's the second one.
Yep, it is all free, Christine. So Mott entered into some partnerships with these different organizations to make sure this content is all free for you. So you can print it and copy it and give it to your staff however you'd see fit and however is most helpful for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is Billy Stone again.
Yeah.
And my question is, I went in on my phone
Mhm.
and you said it was free, but what I downloaded was $29 a year. Did I do the wrong one?
I think you did. So let me see. It will look like their little symbol. Let me pull up my PowerPoint again.
Okay.
So if you look up Mizzen by Mott, type that in exactly, and then it has that blue with like the white book logo.
Yeah, I didn't use that one.
So hopefully you didn't buy that, Billy. I'm sorry about that.
I did take it off.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so it should be free. So don't download anything that's not free.
Okay.
If you have trouble finding it, let me know and I can try to show you where to find it. But if you just type in Mizzen by Mott on your App Store or Google Play or whatever you have, it should come up as one of the first couple search results.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, guys? Okay, well, now that you've learned a little bit about the app, I hope that you all have some fun playing around with it. For me, that was the biggest piece of it, was just using it and playing around and setting up groups and just playing with it a little bit. And I hope that you find it useful. I think this is an invaluable tool for us all to have. And I'm grateful for Mott that they heard the need from the field and responded so quickly and with something that's so functional for you all. So if you ever have any feedback or anything that you'd like me to share with Mott, I'm happy to do that as you're playing through it. Feel free to send me an email or reach out if there's anything I can do to help you with this. But otherwise, if there are no other questions, thank you all for taking the time today. I know this was a little bit longer of a webinar. So thank you for your time today, and thanks for your interest in the app, and then we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brittany.
Thank you.